2XKO is a super fun game with so many great things going for it, like continued support, consistent skins, and a team that actually communicates about balanced gameplay right now. While those things are fantastic, the game's already hit its biggest challenges yet, and these issues have alienated a decent amount of the potential player base. I want to break down some of these problems while also acknowledging that although there was a rocky road leading up to today, 2XKO is going to be a very beloved game and my personal main game for years and years to come. So let's get into it. And yes, we're going to talk about the $100 bundle, don't worry. First off, the most significant criticism anyone's probably heard is about the launch roster. We don't actually know when launch is going to be, but it's a pretty safe bet to assume it'll be the very end of December, and I would definitely guess we're launching with at least 1 or 2 more characters. That would put the launch roster at about 13, which is honestly okay for starting out given we're going to get 5 characters a year. Interestingly enough, we started out in closed beta with like 8 characters, so the jump has been pretty solid and quick to the 9 characters we have now in early access. I'd say the roster started out very bleak, which warranted any and all criticism, but with the way things are developing, I don't actually feel like it's going to be too big of an issue anymore. My tag game benchmark is DBFZ for stuff like this, which started out with 21 characters, so I can't really say the roster is looking great right now, and I'm personally having trouble finding characters I really connect with, honestly. Part of that is bias and waiting for my favorite League characters, but another part of it is just that there's not enough characters, truthfully. Given that this game will last so unfathomably long compared to other fighters, I'm willing to say that this is a rough part of the game that's gonna get better. And eventually, we probably won't even care about this like 5 years down the line. I'd be lying if I said I didn't want a few more characters a year to compensate though. I especially feel like this current roster has the wackiest people in it compared to actual sick League characters, and they pandered way too heavy to their TV show Arcane, which just makes me sigh so hard knowing there are so many more cool characters that could have been in the game. Next, we should dive into the monetization, as it's a fairly hot topic even still, as fighting game players are witnessing Riot's monetization structure for the first time. So if we ignore free unlockables, monetization goes something like this: a $10 battle pass, $20 skins, and a weird as hell $100 bundle for the Arcane skins with extra stuff in it. Honestly, I've got to say, this criticism is more of a culture shock than anything super valid in my opinion, besides the $100 bundle, which we'll talk about in a second. Back during my League days, I remember skins always being roughly that amount of money, $20, and I know Valorant players have it way worse with all those nasty bundles. It would be nice if by buying the battle pass we got free KO points, but honestly, this monetization is fine. A $10 battle pass is pretty chill. The only really awkward thing is that bundle for $100. If I'm keeping it a buck, it seems like more of a way to target whales, which Riot has historically been getting more and more scummy at with all those Hall of Fame League skins for like Faker, if you remember them doing that, which would cost at least minimum $50 in a bundle and at most $500. Ignoring other games though, this bundle is super nasty cringe because the average player doesn't even know they're actually going to be in the rotating shop. I mean, imagine spending $100 because you really love Echo or something, and then finding out you could have saved 70 or $80 if you just waited. I know for a fact there's some people that are going to be seething when they find this out. It's funny because I only found this out through Twitter, which is super foul. Like, they really got to be more transparent about stuff like this, but whatever, I guess. If we look at the bundle alone and the fact the skins are going to go to the rotating shop eventually, it feels a little bit better. The main issue is the lack of transparent communication through the game client. Like, there's not even a date for when it's going to rotate. That's the part that makes it feel the most scummy though, because they just lump this bundle with a huge price point and don't even tell you when it'll be regularly purchasable. I swear, if the pool party or whatever bundle comes out next is the same crap, where you have to spend $100 and aren't able to pick the actual skin we want for months, I will crash out. Monetization aside though, if we look at the rotating shop, we see something people have been complaining about like crazy. The lowdown is pretty much that you have 4 skins in your shop unique to you that rotate weekly. This feels like it's trying to emulate some Fortnite style shop, but fails miserably. Everyone I see on Twitter is wanting to spend money so bad, but forced to wait for the skins they want to come out for like weeks. It's funny because the fact that you can get duplicates is cucking people so hard right now, and there's only like 4 slots. Like, what is that? This weird fear of missing out crap is not working out. It's just giving everyone a huge headache and cucking people that actually want to spend money on their game. So I really hope they consider getting rid of this in the future for a shop with every skin always available, besides maybe holiday releases, because that kind of makes sense. And as a side note, the argument that the game is free is so whack. If we can't criticize anything, especially monetization, like, just because it's free, you're tweaking. You're tweaking without logic. Then there's the button criticism, which in my opinion doesn't hold as much water, as I think it's more of a person-to-person thing. If you leave throw unbinded, you have a macro for everything else that actually matters, and that fills up every button on a standard Xbox controller, so I don't really see the complaint for people having trouble binding, at least on that peripheral. I can see how it's awkward regardless though. The other main complaint about the buttons is that there's just too many, and it makes things hard for beginners and veterans alike. I'm gonna be honest, I played Granblue heavy before this game, which had simple inputs, and I've always played plenty fighting games before this. I really never had an issue with there being too many buttons. If you play for like 3 days, you will be fine and you will feel used to things. Muscle memory stuff like this is always a matter of getting past that first discomfort hump and sleeping things off, since those neural connections or whatever are so overpowered in fighting games. One more criticism I don't see talked about enough is the ranked system. I love the lobbies and stuff since you do actually match with anyone, but there's some issues with the actual system itself. During the closed beta, I remember getting so much LP and losing so little, and people pushed back on this telling me I just had great MMR. Thing is, I was literally bashing my head against the wall once I hit Diamond and still pushed my way all the way up to GM. Like, I was losing a lot. The losses are just tuned so little and the gains are so high, it feels like. Then once you hit GM, it's like a complete brawl with all the really good players. So, I don't know, man. The matchmaking as well doesn't match with people close enough in a rank, and I did hear this has gotten slightly better, so you might not match with people 2 ranks outside your own anymore, but it does suck that people are being matched with skill ranges outside their entire rank at all. Like, an Emerald ideally should not be matched with a Diamond player, and it definitely is not a good look to be matched with a Masters player. I'm really hoping this one develops well, as this rank system is supposed to actually matter relative to other fighting games, but not gonna lie, it is not looking like the case right now. To break away from some of the current criticisms, I'd like to take a peek into what actually made people turned off 2xKO long before the closed beta or early access even started. There's some seriously intriguing history here that tells us a lot about what the game's working with in terms of public perspective. So, let's be honest, 2xKO had one of the worst pre-launch reputations I've seen. I mean, honestly, there was so much negativity about this game, it was getting wild. Now that we're in early access, people are just playing the game, and people who don't like it aren't. But one of the very first valid criticisms was that the game just took way too long to come out. Back in 2019, they announced 2xKO along with a bunch of other titles, and they just ended up taking a long-ass time to develop this game, which is fine. One of the issues was that people created this narrative that 2xKO was going to save fighting games because of stuff like the CSGO style shooter, Valorant being an example of Riot making a game that takes over an entire genre. This meant that people were waiting for the next big thing, not just some regular video game release. You have to picture this expectation forming from word of mouth and creators that this single game could change the entire casual and competitive scene. But this obviously isn't going to be the case, at least not in the way people described. This level of expectation gave lots of people sour taste in their mouth about 2xKO because obviously the FGC doesn't need a game to be their new savior or anything like that, so this notion came off a bit disrespectful to a scene that's built itself from the ground up. It would be more accurate to say that the FGC, in terms of like the people actually creating the fighting games, are waiting on 2xKO to show them that the free-to-play monetization structure actually works, and they might switch to that in the future. The other half of this is in fact completely Riot's fault, and it's that Riot just took so long to release the game, which becomes unacceptable when you realize they were starting a tag fighter with only like 9 characters. This is just straight up valid that isn't enough characters, and even 11 now really isn't enough for a 2v2 game. Those two aspects together worked heavily against 2xKO's reputation coming up to today, and something like that has long-lasting effects. I mean, think of Street Fighter V. They had to take so long to crawl back their reputation from the shaky start they had, and by that point, most people who were already on the fence were turned off from the game. I know people are gonna say, oh, Wanoobie, this isn't the launch, but from a PR perspective, it totally is. Most people's opinions on the game have already formed, especially with everyone having access to the game now. I think what's great, though, is the people that want to play 2xKO are playing it right now, and the people that don't want to are probably just doing their own thing. The game's gonna get better and potentially gain back some of that goodwill with people who might have been turned away once they realize the gameplay is sick, maybe once we get more characters too. Regardless, 2xKO is going to be here a long time. I'm going to be here loving the game for a long time, and I'm hopeful that at least some of these criticisms will be addressed in the future. Please make sure to subscribe if you love 2xKO content, or check out my live streams over on Twitch, and I'll see you again soon. Peace. What the fuck?